All right. Hello, everybody. We are back for another episode of Always Almost There, day after show live. Hello.
Hello. We're back.
Just the two of us today. No guest, unfortunately, but we both webcasted. Neil did fall asleep at set break last night, which means he is never allowed to make fun of me for doing so again. But he was able to catch up on the show this morning. And
did catch up this morning.
You're wearing a nice shirt too.
I got the Garboose on today.
Garboose. It's a Garboose kind of day.
It's a Garboose kind of day. It felt right this morning. I had to do it.
Why not? Now, before we get started, as always, a word from our sponsor. Storm Sound is sponsored by Eversio Wellness. Eversio functional mushrooms are here to help right now, whether you are gearing up for a show, going to sleep afterwards, or recovering and restoring the day after. With a wide range of health benefits, Eversio mushrooms help you make the most out of the moment through the ancient healing properties in their highly potent fruiting bodies. The organic certified therapeutic potency and their planet positive refill system are two of the many standout reasons that Eversio is my choice supplement. Be clear, chill, balanced, energized, protected, focused, and calm in the moment with Eversio mushrooms. Use code STORMSOUND15 for 15% off your order, available to ship anywhere in the US and Canada. You can also click that link right there in the chat, which will take you to order with your 15% off automatically applied. Pretty cool. So let's talk about last night a little bit. Interesting show, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there are some elements. I think there wasn't much jamming last night, which we spend a lot of time talking about, but there was some really cool stuff that I'm excited to dig into.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we get going with a Yeti out the gate. Always a fun opener into Bob Don without. Unfortunately, I realized today I felt like it had been done more times, but there have only been 5 withs in the past year.
You got the stats.
I looked at it last night, and it was like, KC, Chicago, Portland, Cleveland, and then recently New Orleans.
So it's got to be a special show.
It's got to be a special show.
Those are some heavy hitter shows that you just listed there.
True. This is true.
Much like the Doc Brown second song first set is the harbinger of a good show. Maybe a Bob Don with also kind of fits in that category.
A Bob Don with is just awesome.
Yeah.
So
what's interesting about this? Like looking right away at this and then kind of later in this set, it feels like Goose cleared the deck of songs that were kind of hanging in the wind that needed to be played. I think they wanted to get one more Bob Don in there before the tour was over, one more Yeti.
Yeah.
And then later you're going to hear like a couple that like were just waiting to be played.
Yeah. And well, what's also interesting is that they played Bob Don and Yeti in Dallas last year. So I wonder if maybe they're looking at last year's Dallas set list and not wanting to repeat, but they've kind of shown this tour that they're not really that concerned about it.
Nope. Yeah,
even in this show, they played a Western Sun in OKC last year.
Feels like an appropriate place to play that song. I thought it was just going to be in Texas at some point early on.
Yeah,
never got played until tonight.
Stubbs or ACL even, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you mentioned, clearing the deck, like we get 2 tour debuts in this set, which are Life on the Shelf and Lead the Way, both coming off of, decent gaps. I think Shelf, actually a shorter gap than usual. About the same. The last 3 gaps for Shelf have been 15, 15, and 14, which seems to be around.
Wow, almost like clockwork.
Average. Yeah. It was debut and then 4, then 3, then 15, then 4, then 10, 15, 15, 14. So kind of around that kind of range for an average show gap on the Shelf.
Very interesting. And it was cool that they kind of slipped this one in there.
Yeah. 15 shows on the Shelf.
Yeah. 15 shows on the Shelf.
Doesn't hurt so bad. And then we get Hunger Site, which I think I was expecting tonight, honestly. I figured they'd get that in Dallas. Molnar reporting in from the Shelf Defenders Association. Shelf is a banger, he says. Everyone's allowed to have their opinion. So Hunger Site, this was our longest jam of the night, 18 minutes. Really, really solid jam here. You get into that pretty much typical Hunger Site mode that we come to expect from it now. And they got into a really cool space at the end where, it got kind of dissonant and spacey. Peter started looping the vibraphone, arpeggiator thing that he does sometimes. And it's just very cool jam. I wish they would have explored that a little more. But I will not complain about Inside Out.
Yeah, no, this was really cool. And the transition into Inside Out was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I'm going to probably go back and listen to a couple more times. I didn't get much of a chance to listen to it again today, other than listening to it last night. But at the time, I thought it was really awesome. I'm stoked to listen to it again. And Goose's cover of Inside Out is pretty great.
Yeah.
So that's, an exciting addition. And they had to have played it at some point during this run, right? With Spoon being from the Austin area, you would kind of expect they were going to drop this one. And I've been kind of thinking about,
well, and Spoon is at ACL too, aren't they?
They played the same day last week as Goose.
Oh man.
So yeah, I'm surprised they didn't play it earlier. I thought they were going to play it at some point, maybe at Stubbs or something like that. But here it is. It finally came out.
Yeah, first one since June. Definitely, one thing about this tour, we've seen a lot of these rarely played covers come back. Since we started talking about rarely played covers coming back. But
yep.
Inside Out's one of those. Like this is, I think it's second play this year or third play this year. It was played in February in Portland and then in June in Raleigh. It's been around 30 shows the last 2 gaps on it. So.
Yep, and they crushed this one. It's
really
so good.
Awesome.
Rick's
cover.
voice sounds so good on this one.
Yeah, and I love like just the synth and like the way Spuds just kind of plays that straight like quarter note beat, pretty much. Just great song. And then we get Lead the Way to close the set. Great Lead the Way.
Yeah.
But the song is always amazing. Like really happy to hear this. Shout out to Paige Caruso, who is having a C-section in 9 days. For Miss Sadie Caruso, named after the song. She was very happy about that. Spoon is 4 to 5 tomorrow at ACL, and then Goose is at 7. But yes, Paige was speculating that she might go into labor if Goose played the song this tour, but it did not happen.
Did not happen. But this Lead the Way is really good. Always nice when they play it. Huge gaps in that song these days.
Yeah. Oh my
Not
God.
really played at all anymore. And it's
problematic.
It's such a good song. It's such a bummer. I mean, I could see why you really wouldn't want to play it. The subject matter is like kind of sad. So
yes, but it's such a good song.
It is a good song. And the jam within, right, is just spectacular. It's never bad. It always goes down like the perfect road.
Yeah.
And
in the last year
is no different.
In the last year, there have been 4 Lead the Way gaps above 10.
Yep.
Which is crazy. Like, bring it back into more regular rotation. I say I love this song.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, and we still eagerly await that 20-minute version.
Well, you're right. Every time we mention Lead the Way, I have to say that I want them to play a 20-minute version because it would be great. The jam that's in it is so good, and just. It should be given the 20-minute treatment, 25-minute treatment. Why not? Hey, we get 25 minutes of Arrow all the time.
Yeah.
Why can't we have 25 minutes of Lead the Way?
Share the love.
I mean, if it feels right, it feels like it should happen.
100%. And then, so that's the set. Really, it was like a 65-minute set again, which, we've been seeing a lot of shorter sets this tour, I think, which I wonder why. Yes, Jeff, we will always have the 10-29-21 Lead the Way. This is true. Shorter set. This was a really short show with a long encore, which I found really interesting. They've been trending that way a lot this tour. Like even on nights with, a later curfew, they're not playing an hour and a half second set or even an hour 15, hour 20 minutes sometimes. Like last night, the curfew was midnight. And instead of playing the second set for, an hour and 15 minutes and then doing an encore, they opted for a 25-minute encore, which I thought was a really interesting move.
Yeah, totally. Well, it seemed very planned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was a pretty cool choice.
Well, actually, the first set, being shortened didn't really seem planned, and it kind of ended abruptly after Lead the
Yeah,
Way.
that's true. Right, we were talking about that last night.
Yeah, written set list had the set playing out exactly as it did, but with Pancakes closing after Lead the Way. So I think that actually would have really enhanced the set, having that Pancakes after, especially because, again, they were only at 65 minutes. They definitely had time to throw 15 minutes of Pancakes in there.
Right. It was awkward. It seemed like some of the band was convinced they were going off the stage, and some of the band was not convinced they were going off the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder what happened there. There was speculation that, somebody had to go pee.
Yeah. Something like that.
I mean, like, things happen like that all the time, right? You're on tour and, like, being on stage for a really long time, you might just need to get the hell off the stage.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah. And definitely seemed like it happened there. So that was like a little bit awkward, but the encore section certainly felt planned.
Yeah.
Like they knew they were going to eat up 25 minutes of that encore.
And we'll get there. But
yeah,
let's talk about the set 2 first, which is a really interesting second set. So they open up with that Pancakes that was supposed to close set 1. Solid Pancakes here, as it always is. Very enjoyable jam. And then what's interesting here is, on the written set list, second set was Mist, Western Sun, Redbird, or Fredbird, as Coach wrote it, Tomorrow Never Knows, Nights in White Satin, T. And here they decide to audible Ghostbusters rap, which, very interesting move for second song of set 2.
Sometimes I wonder if the written set list is actually different than what they intend to play. Because they're not going to go out there and play Ghostbusters rap without sound checking it or practicing it once. Yeah. Right? So we don't know what they did at sound check, but I assume at least recently they must have sound checked that song and felt ready to play it.
Yeah.
But I mean, they played it a lot over the years, but it's been, when was the last one? Geez, I don't even remember.
Philly in March, 3/11.
All right. So, I mean, that's a long time. That's 7 months. So they had to have sound checked it at some point or played it in a practice, and they were holding on to it. And so, I don't know what happened there. It's hard to say exactly what happened, but they felt moved by the moment and they dropped it. So, and it was good. I mean, that
got a little jammy in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a very fun cover,
Right. Get crowd involvement.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they felt they needed in the moment. We've talked about this a bunch on this Southern swing here. They're playing in front of audiences that aren't used to seeing Goose.
Right.
It's only their second time through this neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it looks like the crowd's like a little bit dead because they're not super familiar with the music maybe. And maybe they felt like they needed to get people going. And that one is cool. Like I said, it has crowd involvement kind of built into the whole thing. And I don't know.
It's cool. It's a cool cover. I don't dislike it. After Ghostbusters rap, then we get the Mist that was planned. Solid version here. Nothing really outside the box. Great Trevor, bass solo at the beginning of the jam there. Trevor, again, standing out last night.
For
repeatedly.
Sure. Yep.
As he does. And then
the Mist was really good. Like Trevor was really, really good in this Mist. So
we're getting it again.
Now we're getting spam. We've made it, Ryan. We're getting like really bizarre spam in our chat. That one was pretty intense. I actually wanted to read that one because it seemed kind of funny, but I'm sure we'll get another. So
it'll come back eventually. So after the Mist, we get a Western Sun, no jam again. Cool down slot, and then a T to close the set for about 15 minutes. So what was interesting here is this set was 62 or 63 minutes. Like another set just barely breaking the 1 hour mark, which is really, really interesting. I feel like they could have kept going, especially with how long the encore was. And they decided to cut Redbird, which was interesting, and move Tomorrow Never Knows and Nights in White Satin to the second set. So I feel like the written, if they wanted to do Pancakes there, if they had gone like Pancakes, Redbird, Western Sun, T with a little, or Pancakes, Mist, Redbird, Western Sun, T, like with a little bit more improv in, I think it may have landed better. But I feel like the set felt unfinished. Like when they dropped into T at the end there, it felt like, oh, like, we're only just over 45 minutes into the set. Like, this feels a little early.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as things scale, there's got to be a market for that. Yeah, the set was strange, like strangely short, and the T was pretty hot at the end of this.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Trevor bass solo again.
Trevor bass solo was really, really good. Trevor was all over this set, but this hot T, kind of better than average Trevor bass solo, with a little bit of Trevor bass singing as well in it. So that was pretty good.
There's Trevor bass singing?
Yeah, there was a little bit of Rick doing the Trevor bass.
Oh, I thought you meant Trevor sang.
No, not Trevor singing, the singing of the Trevor bass cheer.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it.
Trevor
but
bass.
Yeah, it was awkwardly short. I don't know. Like 2 1-hour sets is strange.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just felt weird.
Yeah, the show hit, kind of that 2 hours and 35 minutes, which isn't abnormally short for a complete show, but it's because 25 minutes of that were in the encore.
Right.
And so that kind of pushed it towards the normal length of a show. But it was just, it was interesting there. And then coming back out for the encore and going into nights was also a very interesting move.
Yeah. I mean, this was really cool. I think this, I don't want to say it like saved the show, but it definitely brought things back to like a pretty exciting place.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I love every bit of this encore. I wish they did stuff like this more often.
No kidding.
Just kind of playing with the set list a little bit and weaving in and out of a couple really great songs. Nights in White Satin is killer when they do it. Has an awesome peak built into it.
Yep.
Slow Ready, also awesome.
Yep.
With a huge peak that they actually went pretty hard on in this one. And then Tomorrow Never Knows just crushes when they play it. It's absolutely a wonderful cover. And then
it's been played. They've played Tomorrow Never Knows 7 times in the band's history. 4 of them have been this year.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And what did they play? Like Goose Miss 2019 and
a Tease House show, and then last fall in Atlanta, and then San Fran this year, Vermont this year, Radio City, and then last night.
Oh, that's right. They did the Yeti Tomorrow Never Knows in Vermont. Remember that?
Yes.
I was there for that.
You were there.
So yeah, and then finishing off back into Slow Ready. That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, and I hope they do that more often. But yeah, pretty killer encore. As far as encores go, this is the best one they had all tour.
Yeah. Well, also it's the first encore with this many songs, since last year. The last 3-song encore was New Orleans 2021.
Yeah. And
that was like Whip It, Bob Don, Jive Lee. So nothing crazy, but this is, Nights, Slow Ready, Tomorrow Never Knows, Slow Ready. That slow, or the Slow Ready jam coming out of that Tomorrow Never Knows jam was so good.
Yeah, well, I think everybody was taken by surprise with that one. I know I was shocked, even though I knew the set list when I was listening to it for the first time.
Just how well they executed that transition. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It was excellent. And that's last night's show, which is, it's interesting that we've gotten through it so fast, but there's not, wasn't a ton to unpack.
Yeah, I mean, like I said at the start of this, there weren't that many jams. Hunger Site had a little bit of a jam that I think is really interesting that you can kind of pick apart a little bit. Hot Tea had a pretty extended segment with the Trevor bass solos and all of that. And then, I don't know, Mist was actually pretty cool in this show. I really enjoyed this Mist, but it's Mist and they all kind of sound a lot alike. So there's not much to kind of dissect there. And then Ghostbusters Rap, same deal. I think when you've heard Ghostbusters Rap, you've kind of heard pretty much all that's going to be on the table there when they play it.
Yeah. This one I think went a little bit more outside the box than it usually does, but it was still, a Ghostbusters Rap. So interesting.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. I mean, short show, short sets. Short,
you did have
podcast.
Some other topics you wanted to hit on. I don't think we talked about it yesterday though, that Goose is submitting a couple of things for Grammy consideration, which I think is pretty cool.
Interesting that they're going for the Americana category.
I don't know what's in that category. Yeah, I genuinely have no idea what is in the Americana category. I don't know, what else is in there. Like, does Dripfield sound a lot like other Americana stuff? I don't know. Like, I would have figured they would have gone for like an indie or alternative kind of thing.
Right. And when I think of Americana, I think of like bands with acoustic guitars and banjos and stuff.
Something that maybe you'd find in Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska. Are we going there? Are we?
I don't know. I figured the opportunity presented itself.
All right. So yesterday I took some heat for trashing some states, and then I made a new promise. Americana is a new category. There you go. I didn't know that there was ever not a category, but
yeah,
the term's been around for a while. In any case, I made a promise earlier today that I would trash a new state to take a little bit of heat off of Wisconsin. And who else did I go after yesterday? Arkansas.
You went after Arkansas. You went after Arkansas.
It was a spirited debate. Yeah. So I think today, after having talked with Vickers, the plan was to take a shot at Nebraska, but there's like really nothing to make fun of with Nebraska. So I think we're just going to have to move past that. Maybe my reign of terror of making fun of states has to come to an end here. Well, we don't want too much controversy on the podcast.
Wasn't much of a reign. It's been 24 hours.
Gotta sing the corn song.
But so back to the Grammy conversation.
Yes.
The Dripfield is submitted for Best Americana Album, and then Hunger Sight for Best American Roots Song and Best Americana Performance. For some reason, for me, when I think of like American Roots Song, I think of like in a farm, somebody wearing like an American flag outfit, like, performing at like a fall harvest festival or something.
Yeah, that's what I think of too. I don't understand it, but I mean, I also haven't looked at the categories, so I have no idea what the heck I'm saying. And furthermore, although Goose is kind of indie rock adjacent with their music, and they're very much into that sound, and they're kind of pushing in that direction, I don't think their Dripfield would be accepted as an indie rock album by the community that listens to indie rock.
That's fair.
And
is the song Dripfield Americana?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
So I think Hunger Sight on its own probably has a better chance in that category than the album, just because of that. And there's something like, would you call the album version of Hot Tea or Slow Ready Americana?
No.
I feel like the first two songs of the album could maybe do pretty well in there, but I feel like it's too indie.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's one of those things too that they don't really fit in a category.
Yeah,
because that's just not.
They should win the Grammy for Best Goose Album of the Year.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of the thing. It's they're shoehorning themselves into kind of broader categories of genres that they're a jam band, dude.
Maybe the Whales. Maybe the Whales could be Americana, Molnar. Yeah, that's a good point.
Jeff Hill asks when I'm gonna bust on Canada, which I say I won't. It's
always
just too easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what everybody does. We're trying to think outside the box here on the podcast, and not just trash Canada all the time. Yeah. I mean, we could, but like it would be just a recurring theme. Moonrise, I think, could be in the Americana category. That's the one that
two acoustic guitars. I can imagine two guys at like a farm harvest festival dressed as an American flag playing. Moonrise.
Yeah. You're like sipping cider, like mulled cider. Even having like a cider donut. Somebody's like playing Moonrise. That's what I think of when I think of Americana.
Yeah, it's fall, but it's like it's still warm enough for somebody to be wearing like a big red, white, and blue hat and dressed as an American flag, and they have an acoustic guitar on the stage there, and there are hay bales and
that's what I'm saying. It's like we're talking about Nebraska right now.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
There you go. Circle back to Nebraska.
Yeah, it all circles back nicely. But yeah, I'm interested to see how that goes. I do hope they get the nomination, and I hope they win. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I hope people listen to their music because it's awesome, and this album is awesome, and it deserves some recognition.
Yeah, Hunger Sight. Again, I don't want to knock on the album's chances in the Americana category, but I feel like Hunger Sight on its own might have a bit more of a chance in that kind of realm of music. But again, I don't know what they're up against.
Yeah, and they are not nominated for this yet. They are
Correct.
just submitted for consideration, which I didn't realize was the thing that people announce until now. But also, I don't pay attention to the Grammys at all.
I will be paying attention if Goose gets nominated.
Well, of course, if they get nominated, that'd be interesting. And then I think we can get a real idea of what the Americana category is. And like maybe I can Google this.
Even if they don't get nominated, I'm interested to see what's in that category because
right. Yeah.
I want to know.
Now I'm just gonna like speculate and just say random things, but I wish them luck. I hope they do get nominated.
Yeah.
After being submitted for consideration.
Yeah.
And I hope they
then
sell a whole ton of records.
Grammy nominated album Dripfield.
Right.
Or every time they play Hunger Site, it will now be notated on the set list. Grammy nominated song Hunger Site. Kevin Cowley is repenting for his lie earlier that he said Americana was a new category. Debuted in 2010. Thank you for that piece of trivia, though, Kevin.
So now we can go back and look at what else kind of fits into that category.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. I'm excited to do the research. Ryan, you can fact check it.
Yeah.
As we go on now. Who won last year?
Oh, in 2021, the best Americana album was Native Sons by Los Lobos.
Fascinating. I wouldn't consider Los Lobos Americana. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there.
Sarah Jarosz in
Los
2020.
Lobos. Okay.
Oklahoma by Keb Mo in 2019.
All right. Okay.
Brandy Carlisle won it in 2018. The Nashville Sound, Jason Isbell on the 400 unit.
All right. So like Jason Isbell, like that is Americana.
That's doesn't for sure fit Americana.
Your kind of caricature of what Americana should be.
And I could totally see Jason Isbell playing Hunger Site though.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it would
I guess you're right.
With the vibe. Like Hunger Site's a pretty Americana sounding song.
All right, I'm sold. Okay, Goose is an Americana band.
100% sold on Americana.
Yeah, I am.
That's
I'm
good.
now fully convinced.
That's good. Now before we wrap up today, quick little touch on fantasy. Neither of us did particularly well last night.
I did terrible.
It was a tough. It was a tough night for a lot of us. Luckily, a lot of people at the top of the list did not do well last night. So I'm still holding my second place. But you dropped a little bit.
I did. I have a little bit of a drop. Thankfully, Jive is not here today.
Yeah.
Because he did a little bit better than I did last night. Ooh. But that's okay. I'm going to finish out strong.
Yeah.
Tonight's my night. I actually feel pretty good about my picks.
Your picks aren't even in yet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost there. I'm ready. I've been busy all day. I got up at 7:00 this morning, and I just now sat down to do this thing.
Here's Legs, still hanging on for dear life. Shat the bed. Well, you still have. You know what? I did close the gap on you a little bit last night. You're now only 8 points ahead. I think 6 or 8 points. Anything can happen. So
yeah. So we'll Ryan, my advice today is go for the 8-point Turkish Hills. It's due.
It really is due.
It really is due. It's been more due
than any other song that you can say is as due as Turkish Hills.
Yeah, it's the one. It's gonna happen. Or just kind of slap a Moby 8-point Moby on there.
No, that's happening tomorrow.
We'll see. Although, actually,
when I'm there, please.
It feels like a pretty safe bet considering how often they have played Moby in festival sets. So I hope you get your Moby.
I really hope I do too. That would be fantastic. Tomorrow is also Jeff's birthday. Be careful what you podcast for.
Yeah.
So look for my 8-point American Woman.
Yep, that's the one. I think you're getting a Jeff song. So get excited for that.
I'm excited, and I believe tomorrow's podcast, talking about tonight, I will be reporting live from ACL. So that'll be fun.
So what are you catching at ACL tomorrow?
I'm not 100% sure yet.
All right.
I know we're gonna probably go to Casey Musgraves after Goose instead of the Chili Peppers this week.
It's so weird. Is that like how ACL works? I've never paid attention to ACL in my life.
There were 2 other stages.
Yeah, but is it like they're playing the exact same set times as last week?
Correct. Everybody's playing the same set times pretty much, except for I think there are a smaller number of acts that are only one weekend, and then so those are different. But like, yeah, Goose is playing same time, same place, followed by the Chili Peppers, same time, same place. Like, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think I would probably only go see the Chili Peppers once.
Yeah,
I might get crucified for saying that.
No, the Chili Peppers also, like, it was cool, but it was kind of underwhelming, and they ended the set 30 minutes earlier than they were scheduled to.
Yeah, and then makes you wonder what they're going to do this time. So, like, do Chili Peppers play? I mean, they've got a huge catalog, right?
Right, and they played for 90 minutes.
Do they play the same set 2 weekends in a row?
I guess we'll find out. But I think they did just drop a new album yesterday.
Huh.
So,
I mean, and then then there's the question: what is Goose going to play tomorrow? I mean, it's just who the heck knows?
Mm-hmm.
It's
we'll see.
I mean,
we'll see.
I mean, I have
tonight.
an idea of what they're going to play. I'm not going to reveal anything.
Yeah, I will say Frusciante was awesome last week. I also love watching Flea.
He's a good musician.
Yeah, and just
I can't stand Anthony Kiedis. I'll say that right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Come at me.
And Will Ferrell on
Anthony
drums.
Kiedis. Yes, of course. In any case,
well, good. Rick sit in with Spoon tomorrow, says Kevin. That would be cool. Oh, maybe I'll go see Spoon.
I would go see Spoon. I've seen Spoon a couple times, and it was really good. They're a really great band, even though I don't particularly love Spoon, even though I've been accused of loving Spoon. I do love Goose's cover of Spoon. I don't know. There's something about him. I mean, I've been really into that genre for a very, very long time. Before I kind of got back into jam music, I was just consuming indie rock, and you would just hear a lot of Spoon kind of mixed in with this stuff, and I never dug it. I don't know why. It's just not my thing.
That's fair.
But I would be excited to hear that Rick sat in with Spoon, although I don't know. I mean, who knows? You never know how these sit-in things work.
Yeah, I don't know how it works at a festival. Do they just, does Rick just like walk up tomorrow and be like, "Hey, we cover one of your songs. Can I sit in?"
Yeah. Hey, actually, mentioning another podcast, The Great Beyond talked about this the other night, and Greg was basically saying, sometimes sit-ins work because people appreciate other people's music and they actually want to do something with them. And, sometimes it's one manager calling up another manager, which I think was the case with the Big Boy et al. Sit-in.
Yeah.
There was a phone call made and said, folks were like, these guys appreciate your music. Let's do something together. Maybe that happens with somebody like Spoon. I don't know. But it feels like high stakes kind of like, I don't know, these like festivals, like folks want to go out there and do the thing that's going to like grab people, I
hear Frusciante is going to sit in on Madhavan, but
I would not be surprised having heard what I've heard from the band about like people they've asked to sit in with them, that like Peter didn't reach out to somebody in the Red Hot Chili Peppers camp and was fair. Like,
who have they asked?
Well,
I haven't heard that.
Spuds told me at the Pines in Eau Claire that they asked Justin Vernon to come, and he was just like, no.
When was this?
2021.
No, Justin Vernon where?
At the Pines in Eau Claire.
Oh, for that.
Because Justin Vernon is from Eau Claire.
I thought you meant at a festival. Got it.
No, they asked him to come and play with them when they were there, and he just gave them a flat no, according to Spuds. But
can't win them all. They got Trey though, so
they did get Trey,
and now they're going on tour with them. Which after tonight, I'm seeing the next 5 Goose shows, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Tomorrow,
although they're all like really spaced out.
Well, yeah, it's.
Do you think we're gonna get like kind of? Oh, yeah, that's true. The year.
I also still have no idea right now. I still have no idea if Taboose is 2 or 3 sets.
Nobody knows what the hell is going to happen.
I'm excited though. It's going to be fun.
I'm going to see the first 3 of those.
We're getting off track here.
I'm thrilled.
Yes,
yeah, we are. We should probably wrap up.
We will talk more about that, but we're going to wrap up. We're just kind of going into casual conversation now because that's what we do here on Always Almost There. Yeah. A reminder. You can get some mushrooms. Use the link in the chat below. They're amazing. Storm Sound 15% off. Pretty cool. So, without further ado, we will be back here tomorrow. I will be live from ACL. We've got some guests who are at the show tonight, so that'll be fun.
I'm excited for our guests tomorrow.
And Jive can show us his new tattoo. So
rain stick right here.
Action-packed episode coming tomorrow. Don't miss it.